they are calling this a medium scratch. Singular scratch. I disagree. I think you guys are going to get to experience more of Carvana than what I had intended, but we'll get there when we get there. I'm coming to you guys from a hotel room in Kansas City. As I publish this video, I will have returned home, but I just want to start this video up by saying this will be a couple videos long, and I can already see the comments. But I thought I would share this process as it happens. With that said, roll it.
Who you talking to?
I am getting rid of my 2024 GMC Sierra. I spent the entire day stripping off all the accessories on this truck that they don't give you credit for when you trade it in. I struggled about what to get, if anything, but the problem with all new truck manufacturers is that they're all pretty darn unreliable.
Now, I did not do a good enough job explaining in detail why I was looking to get rid of my 2024 GMC Sierra. Once I bought the 2013 Corvette and I started splitting time driving that in the truck, I would pull out of the driveway in the morning in the Corvette and I just see that very expensive pickup truck sitting there thinking like, what a waste of money tied up in a very expensive truck that I don't hate, but I also don't love. This kind of comes on the heels of my full-time job being a little bit deep in the Dave Ramsey world. I've actually heard quite a few people, and we actually pay for, as a company, the Dave Ramsey financial planning tools. And I started looking at the truck and just thinking, you know what, I'd be better off to get something cheaper to split my driving time with and go with a used truck, because I don't need a reliable daily driver if I have two that I can split the time with.
I just bought this 2013 Chevy Corvette, and I bought it off of Carvana. And I think that people are going to assume that I am trolling here because we're doing it again. And here she is. The 2013 Chevy Avalanche. Number one, we're looking for rust. This truck lived. Oh, we're totally golden. Oh, hell yeah. And we got beat up bumper. 2019. And 2019. Ultra old tires. That thing is sick. Oh, that motor is absolutely silent. Dude, there is no rust on this thing at all. That thing is f***ing sick. So there's a weird body gap there from whatever front end collision happened. Is this an actual crack? Yep, these dashes love to crack. All right, nothing on the dash. Make sure all three of the covers are here. Well, it's not a soft open. All three covers, let's go. This is my new 2013 Chevy Avalanche. I just made a video a couple weeks ago talking about my 2024 GMC Sierra and how, honestly, I was getting kind of bored with that truck, but it's actually more than that. I've got to the point with new trucks where Ford, GM, Ram, they all seem to have their issues, and I figured, you know what? Let's just go back to the glory days. This is a 2013, and these trucks, these Avalanches, are known for going 200, 300,000 plus miles if you take care of them. So this one has just over 100,000 miles, and it runs fantastic. It had a front end collision at some point, and I can actually tell with the body gap here that there is some work has been done to this previously. Now, just like the 2013 Corvette that I just bought from Carvana, yes, I bought this one from Carvana too. No, Carvana is not sponsoring me, and I will also cover things with this truck the same way I have with the Corvette and share with you guys that experience. Truth is, there are some things on this truck that I'm going to need them to take care of. Otherwise, I will be sending it back within the 7-day period that I have to return it. I actually was between this and a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee that had 60,000 miles on it with a V8, because that thing towed, I think, just over 7,000 pounds. This one tows 8,000 pounds. But I actually went with the Avalanche over the Jeep because I felt like this is a better platform for higher miles than the Jeep is. So a lot of people told me when I bought my Corvette that I was expecting too good of condition. And this is where I will say that's a bunch of nonsense, because this one actually has quite a few condition issues with it. You can see here on the front, there's a giant gash here in the bumper, which you can't tell and probably won't show up on camera, is that the paint here is also spider-webbed a little bit. This is pretty well beat up. Now, I did see in the photos some of these marks here, and I actually thought that this was through the paint into what, you know, the yellowish plastics that tend to be on bumpers. This is actually just an indication of damage. So this will actually come off. Anywhere you see these marks, those are just indications of issues. This I saw in the photos. I thought that was like actually a big gash. That's actually just some gunk on there that'll come off. The hood here has some scrapes and scratches on the paint. You can actually see this whole front corner here is actually pretty well beat up. Honestly, I did not see this. This might be enough for me not to keep the vehicle. This is pretty bad. The paint is completely gone. You can tell somebody, I think, either tried to touch up paint that, or not sure what happened there. I didn't even notice that, but that's pretty bad.
So right after filming this part of the video, I got home, sat down, looked at the condition photos, and thought, is that really the condition that they had disclosed? It is absolutely not. And to people on my Corvette videos, I saw them say, like, oh, you're looking for a used car and you want it to be perfect. No, I don't want it to be perfect, but I want it to be representative of what was in the photos disclosed at point of sale. And this truck was 24 grand, which I think is a reasonable price for it in good condition. A lot of people are going to argue that because people like to argue in the comments. Have at it. But I thought that was a fair price for what they were asking for. But that condition is not what I would consider to be medium scratches. So I did put in a claim with Carvana. And the reason why I'm recording this part of the video in a hotel room in Kansas City is because after I picked up the truck, I had to catch a flight to KC, and I put in that claim saying that that was not how it was represented, and they seem to disagree that it was represented in the photos, and they are not willing to fix that fender. And that, I think, is enough for me to say I'm not interested in keeping the truck. Now, I'm not trying to get a used vehicle in perfect condition. As a matter of fact, I really don't care that much about the scrapes and bumps on the bumpers. Those I'm much less worried about because, honestly, it's a 13-year-old truck. Paint on metal parts, that's a different story because that's, I mean, I live in Phoenix, so I'm not too worried about rust, but I'm very worried about paint flaking in the heat and all that kind of stuff. So very different situation. Not looking for a perfect truck, but I am looking for something that is accurately representative of what was purchased. So what I'll say here is a lot of people are like, oh, this is what you get for buying a vehicle sight unseen. Carvana, you need to do better in representing the actual condition because this, I will tell you, is not by anybody's definition a medium scratch. This would be considered severe across the board. And I think setting expectations for people who are buying vehicles off the internet is the onus of Carvana, and for them to say that this was represented in the photos, I think is disingenuous at best. And I'm going to send the vehicle back because of that, and I'm really bummed about it because I was really kind of fell in love with this vehicle.
I'm actually happy that the weather, it turned overcast, because sometimes when it's so sunny here in Phoenix, it kind of drowns out some of the body issues. So I'm happy that I have a little more of a diffused light here to take a look at some of this stuff. Now the rear bumper, this is pretty smashed up. You can see somebody actually got into something here where it's actually into the bumper. Tailgate looks fine. This bumper, you can tell whoever had this was hitting some stuff. Now this is the Black Diamond Avalanche edition. It is the final year of this truck. Now, when I saw the interior of this thing, and this is actually a big part of why I was super into it when I saw the photos of it, 100,000 miles, the only cracking on the leather is right here. The rest of the leather is actually in really good shape. This thing has not really been detailed all that well. This is the condition I got it just a couple hours ago. Steering wheel is in pretty good shape. There's no peeling of the leather or anything up here. All in, this thing actually is super clean. Really floored when I saw this thing in person. How good of shape this thing is in. Now, of course, we have the collapsible Midgate, which is really cool. This whole thing comes apart. Now, this wouldn't be much of an Avalanche video if I didn't put down the Midgate here. First, I'm gonna pull up the back seat. These fold down. This one here, I'll drop that down. There we go. This was always something, it's funny because I used to work at a dealership in 2001, I think, when they had these, and I was always afraid of doing this glass part. It's always a little bit concerning, but they actually thought this through pretty well. There's actually a little latch here that catches the glass so that it won't just pop out and fall and surprise you and break. Just pop this down here, lock her. It's a process, but pretty darn easy. Drop the Midgate. If we go tailgate to the end of the bed with the cover up, you have just over, let's call it 62 inches. So 5 foot 2 inches. And then with this open, you have 8 feet of bed space. Now, what I like about this a lot is that the engineers did a really good job thinking this through, because if you put 4x8 sheets of plywood in here and you push it all the way to the end, you don't want that hitting your nice leather seat. So you actually have the seat bottoms here, which act as that stop. So unless you were to stack way high, you really don't have an issue if you're just throwing a few sheets of plywood, which that is what most people are doing. And if you're going to do more than that, I've always said this and I'll say it till the day I die, at some point you're exceeding what the bed should be carrying anyways. You should probably go grab a U-Haul trailer and do it that way. Now, some of the really cooler things that I think the Avalanche had that a lot of trucks now just don't and should is they have the tonneau cover here. It's all part of the truck. The operation of these is actually really easy. There's just some levers here. You pull it up, take it out, and you can just pull these tonneau cover pieces out. You want to make sure you latch them down so they don't go flying off on the highway. Now, one of the trucks that I was very much considering as a new truck replacement for my 2024 GMC Sierra was the Ram, because I love the Ram boxes. I've seen people who say, oh, Ram boxes, they just take up too much of your bed space and it cuts it. It really doesn't. It takes up space that most people don't use. Visually, I think it creates a feeling like you're losing bed space, but practically, it really doesn't. And so the Avalanche, when I started looking at this thing, I was like, this thing actually has the Ram box. Pleasant surprise when I saw the storage. When I was looking online, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to have that storage box, and I thought it was just this little space here. It is not. It actually goes back quite a ways here, and that is awesome for things like toe straps. There's actually quite a bit of space in there. Now, stepping back and just looking at this thing, I was always a huge fan of how these trucks looked. I think aesthetically, it is almost perfection in terms of a truck design. I like when they switched from the black, I think they call them flying buttress, to the painted, because those old black panels just looked absolutely terrible. After they sat in the sun for any length of time, they just started to look bleached out. Driving this truck, it's been only a few miles first and foremost, so it's hard to form a complete opinion about this vehicle specifically, but these trucks are known very well for getting into the 200,000-300,000 plus mile range. I intentionally wanted to come through and hit some speed bumps just to test out the front and rear suspension. This thing has an air suspension on the rear, and they are known for going bad, and it can be an expensive repair. This 5.3 in this truck, it's great. It's not a beast when it comes to power. It's not throwing down anything that's super impressive, but it's throwing down all that it needs to. And that's where I feel like a lot of modern trucks are chasing spec sheet numbers, because a lot of you guys buy based on spec and not so much on what you need. We'll turn on the air-conditioned seats here. It's a little warm outside. And I guess getting into this older generation of a truck, what I really wanted to kind of challenge myself for was like, what do I really need? Because all these new trucks now are just getting insane when it comes to features that nobody asked for and seemingly nobody wants. When I saw the new Chevy Silverado coming out and they put the screen on the passenger side, it's like that's something that Ram started doing and nobody really seems to like it. I don't know why they're doing it. Now, as I'm driving here, I was very concerned buying an older GM truck in this 2013 year, because everything is very plasticky and you can have a lot of rattles. I don't hear too many rattles, but there is one. coming from somewhere in the back. I will have to hunt that thing down, but it's actually not that terrible. If I had the radio on, you probably wouldn't hear it at all. Now, the radio, all these Bose systems, in my opinion, are the best on the market. They have been for years. Some things specific with this truck that I'm not entirely sure of yet, and some reasons why I may or may not send this thing back. Number one, I showed you earlier, there is a decent amount of body damage on this. I don't know how much I care about that. I do a little. It is a 2013. It's a truck that's, I don't think I care that much, but I don't know, maybe I care a little bit. We'll find out. The other thing is, it's plowing through corners a little bit. It feels like it wants to kind of push through. But just like my 2013 Corvette that had, well, that one had 14-year-old tires on it, I think it was, or 16-year-old, so 2012 was the date stamp on them. This one has tires from 2019. It is 2026. They are dry rotted and cracking. So those I'm going to take in to have Carvana replace them the same way they did with the Corvette. And if they don't replace them, the truck is going back, just because I'm not going to spend all that money on brand new tires on a used vehicle that has tires that shouldn't have been on there when they were sold. This seems to be kind of a common Carvana trend. And I don't care what you say about, oh, you're buying a used vehicle, it shouldn't be brand new, or whatever the case may be. There's no used car dealership or anybody selling a used car that should be putting them on the road with tires that are unsafe. That's just bad business. Either way, I have 7 days to return it, and maybe I go back to the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think? I would probably just park this thing until I got new tires on it, because I'm not a huge fan of driving on dry rotted tires. But I do have a flight to catch. And honestly, for 100,000 miles, this thing might even be worthy of getting body stuff fixed and keeping this truck for another 150,000 miles. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Now, getting on the highway, I have noticed that this thing does not have the giddy up and go that my 2024 had, the diesel, but it has all the power you need. Honestly, I don't see any need for more than what this thing has, other than want. And I've got my Corvette now, so if I need power, I'll take that bad boy if I want speed. This thing, let's get up on the highway here, cruise control, set our cruise control, 70 miles an hour, tracks straight. Yeah, straight as an arrow. And it's a great cruising truck. It seems like it's in pretty darn good shape. And the things that I was mainly looking for with this thing was any lifter ticking or anything like that, which would be indicative of the active fuel management being a problem, which this does have. It cuts off to a 4-cylinder, and that causes collapsed lifters. This doesn't have any noises that I can hear at all in the motor. Things actually sounds brand spanking new. So I definitely would do the AFM, not delete, but deactivator. And from what I understand, if you deactivate it, it tends to not have any valve or lifter issues from that point forward. So certainly would be on my, in the first week or two, list of things to do. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Is this a keeper, or do I send it back and get that 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the V8? Be curious to know what you guys would do in this situation. Thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. See you guys next time.